Gentlemen, what if I told you that spending just 60 seconds chewing a specific natural substance before bed could transform your overnight vascular health so dramatically that you'd wake up with blood flow rivaling what you experienced as a teenager? What if I showed you that this single nightly practice works through mechanisms so powerful that it addresses arterial stiffness, nitric oxide depletion, and endothelial dysfunction while you sleep, creating morning responses that signal optimal male health? Today, I'm going to reveal something that sounds almost too simple to be effective, but that's backed by both ancient traditional use and cutting-edge research into circadian rhythms, overnight hormone production, and vascular regeneration during sleep. We're talking about a chewable substance that delivers specific compounds directly through your oral tissues, bypassing digestion and entering your bloodstream within minutes, right as your body enters its critical overnight testosterone production phase. The teenage blood flow I mentioned, ISNT, just a catchy phrase. It refers to the robust, reliable, spontaneous morning firmness that healthy young men experience as a result of overnight hormonal surges and optimal vascular function. When this disappears as men age, it's not just about one specific function. It's a warning sign that your overall vascular health and hormonal balance are declining. And when we can restore it, we know we've addressed fundamental health issues that affect your entire body. Stay with me for the next few minutes, and it'll reveal exactly what to chew, why the 60-second timing matters, how the overnight mechanism works, and what you can expect when you wake up after implementing this simple practice. This could be the easiest and most effective intervention you will ever make for your male vitality. The substance I am talking about is raw cacao nibs mixed with a small amount of raw honey, formed into a chewable paste that you hold in your mouth and chew slowly for 60 seconds before swallowing. Let me explain why this specific combination is so remarkably effective when consumed at night. Raw cacao nibs are pieces of crushed cacao beans, the pure form of chocolate before any processing, sugar, or dairy is added. Cacao is one of the richest natural sources of flavonols, particularly a subclass called epicins, which have profound effects on vascular health and nitric oxide production. Research has shown that cacao flavonols significantly improve endothelial function, meaning the cells lining your blood vessels work better at producing nitric oxide and responding to signals for dilation. When you consume cacao before bed, these flavonols circulate in your bloodstream throughout the night, supporting the nocturnal vascular events that should be occurring. Cacao contains the abroin, a compound chemically similar to caffeine, but with very different effects. Unlike caffeine, which can disrupt sleep, the bromine has a much gentler stimulant effect and actually supports blood vessel dilation. It works synergistically with the flavonols to enhance blood flow. Raw cacao is extraordinarily rich in magnesium, providing more of this crucial mineral preserving than almost any other food. Magnesium is essential for hundreds of enzymatic reactions in your body, including those involved in testosterone production, smooth muscle relaxation, and nervous system function. Many men are deficient in magnesium, and this deficiency directly impairs hormonal and vascular health. Cacao contains significant amounts of arginine, the amino acid that serves as the direct precursor to nitric oxide. When you consume cacao before bed, you're providing your body with the raw material it needs to produce nitric oxide throughout the night. The antioxidants in raw cacao, which are among the highest of any food, protect the endothelial cells from overnight oxidative damage. During sleep, various metabolic processes generate free radicals, and antioxidant protection ensures your vascular cells remain healthy and functional. Raw honey added to the cacao serves multiple purposes. It makes the mixture more palatable and chewable. More importantly, honey contains compounds that support nitric oxide production through pathways independent of the arginine pathway, creating redundancy in nitric oxide support. Honey provides small amounts of simple sugars that enter your bloodstream quickly. These sugars support the energy needs of the cells producing testosterone during their peak production hours in the early morning. Adequate glucose availability helps optimize hormone synthesis. The enzymes in raw honey, particularly glucose oxidase, produce very small amounts of hydrogen peroxide that act as signaling molecules to stimulate nitric oxide production. This effect complements cacao's mechanisms. Now, let me explain why the 60-second chewing timing and the pre-bed consumption are so critical. When you chew cacao nibs and honey slowly for 60 seconds, you're not just breaking them down for swallowing. You're creating an opportunity for sublingual and buccal absorption, where compounds enter your bloodstream directly through the tissues of your mouth. The tissues under your tongue and throughout your mouth are highly vascular, with thin membranes that allow for rapid absorption of certain compounds. When you chew slowly and thoroughly, holding the mixture in your mouth, some of the beneficial compounds begin entering your bloodstream within seconds to minutes, bypassing the digestive system entirely. This rapid absorption means the flavanols, the abroin, and other compounds from cacao reach your bloodstream and begin exerting effects right as you are falling asleep. This timing is perfect because it means peak blood levels of these compounds occur during the critical overnight hours when testosterone production and nocturnal vascular events should be happening. The 60-second time frame ensures thorough chewing and adequate contact time with oral tissues for meaningful absorption. Chewing for less time doesn't allow sufficient absorption. Chewing for much longer provides diminishing returns as most of the readily absorbable compounds have already been taken up. The act of chewing itself has benefits. Chewing stimulates saliva production, and saliva contains enzymes that begin breaking down the cacao and honey, enhancing the release of beneficial compounds. The mechanical action of chewing also increases blood flow to the head and neck, potentially enhancing the absorption through oral tissues. Consuming this preparation right before bed, ideally within 20 to 30 minutes of sleep, ensures that the compounds are present in your system throughout the critical overnight hours. If consumed too early in the evening, blood levels may have already declined by the time the important late night and early morning testosterone production occurs. Let me teach you the exact preparation method for optimal results. You'll need approximately 1 TSP of raw cacao nibs. These should be pure raw cacao without any processing, additives, or sweeteners. Quality matters significantly. Look for organic cacao nibs from reputable sources. You'll also need approximately 1 teaspoon of raw unfiltered honey. The honey should contain the mother and have not been heated or heavily filtered. Place the cacao nibs in a small bowl and drizzle the honey over them. Using the back of a spoon, press and mix the cacao nibs and honey together. The honey will coat the nibs and begin softening them slightly. Let this mixture sit for about 5 minutes to allow the honey to penetrate the nibs. Some men prefer to use a mortar and pestle to lightly crush the cacao nibs before mixing with honey. This breaks them into smaller pieces that are easier to chew and may enhance the release of beneficial compounds. However, this step is optional. Once prepared, place the entire mixture in your mouth. Begin chewing slowly and deliberately. Don't rush. The goal is to thoroughly break down the cacao nibs while mixing them with your saliva and allowing the mixture to contact all the tissues in your mouth. As you chew, press the mixture against the roof of your mouth and under your tongue. These areas have particularly good absorption. Allow some of the liquid portion to pull under your tongue for several seconds before continuing to chew. Continue chewing for a full 60 seconds. Count slowly or use a timer if needed. This ensures adequate contact time and thorough breakdown of the cacao nibs. After 60 seconds, swallow the mixture completely. You can follow with a small sip of water if desired, though many men prefer not to, allowing the compounds to continue, absorbing from any residue that remains in the mouth. Then proceed with your normal bedtime routine. Brush your teeth if that's your habit, though waiting 10 to 15 minutes allows for a bit more absorption time from any residue. Now, let me explain what happens in your body throughout the night after you've consumed this preparation. Within the first 30 to 60 minutes, as you're falling asleep, the flavonols and other compounds absorbed through your oral tissues are circulating in your bloodstream. They're beginning to enhance endothelial cell function and support nitric oxide production. During the first few hours of sleep, when deep sleep predominates, your body enters its most intensive repair mode. The magnesium from the cacao supports the enzymatic processes involved in cellular repair and hormone synthesis. The antioxidants protect cells from the oxidative stress generated by metabolic processes. In the middle of the night, as you cycle through REM sleep phases, the enhanced nitric oxide availability supports the normal nocturnal vascular events that should be occurring. The blood vessels can dilate more readily in response to the hormonal and nervous system signals. In the early morning hours, typically between 4 and 7 in the morning, testosterone production reaches its peak. The arginine from cacao provides raw material for the nitric oxide production that accompanies this hormonal surge. The glucose from honey supports the energy needs of the cells synthesizing testosterone. As morning approaches and you enter the final REM periods before waking, the cumulative effects of the overnight vascular support and hormonal optimization manifest in the robust morning response that signals healthy function. When you wake, the enhanced blood flow isn't limited to just one area. Your entire vascular system has benefited from the overnight support. You may notice that you feel more energized, that your thinking is clearer, that you have a general sense of vitality. These reflect the comprehensive vascular and hormonal benefits. Let me discuss what you can realistically expect from implementing this nightly practice. The very first night you try this preparation, many men notice a difference the next morning. The morning response may be stronger or more reliable than it has been recently. This reflects the acute effects of the cacao flavonols and the overnight nitric oxide support. After 3 to 5 nights of consistent use, the effects typically become more pronounced. The morning responses become more consistent and robust. You may notice your waking feeling more refreshed and energetic within 2 weeks of nightly use. Most men experience substantial improvements. Morning firmness that had been absent or inconsistent for months or years often returns with regularity. The quality of the response improves as well, reflecting genuine improvements in vascular function. At the 1-month mark, the benefits often extend beyond just morning responses. Overall energy levels throughout the day typically improve. Exercise performance and recovery may enhance. Mental clarity often increases. These broader benefits reflect the cumulative vascular and hormonal improvements from consistent nightly support. Beyond 2 to 3 months of consistent use, many men report that their baseline vascular and hormonal health has improved substantially. Blood pressure often normalizes. Cholesterol profiles may improve. Body composition frequently shifts favorably with increased muscle mass and reduced body fat. These systemic improvements reflect the comprehensive health benefits of optimized vascular function and hormonal balance. Let me address important variations and modifications based on individual needs. For men who are very sensitive to theobromine or who find that even small amounts affect their sleep, using a smaller amount of cacao nibs, perhaps half a tablespoon instead of a full tablespoon, often eliminates any sleep interference while still providing benefits. For men who cannot tolerate the intense flavor of raw cacao, mixing the cacao nibs and honey with a small amount of almond butter or coconut butter creates a more palatable preparation. These additions also provide healthy fats that support hormone production. Some men add a tiny pinch of sea salt to the mixture. The minerals in sea salt support cellular function and may enhance the absorption of certain compounds from the cacao. A few drops of vanilla extract can be added for flavor. Pure vanilla extract also contains compounds that have mild relaxing effects, potentially supporting better sleep quality. For men who have difficulty chewing hard cacao nibs, soaking them in the honey for 15 to 20 minutes before consuming softens them considerably. Alternatively, using cacao powder mixed with honey to form a thick paste works well, though cacao nibs may provide slightly better sublingual absorption. Now, let me explain why this preparation is superior to simply eating dark chocolate or taking cacao supplements. Commercial dark chocolate, even high-quality versions, has been roasted and processed in ways that reduce the flavanol content significantly. The heat of roasting destroys some of the delicate compounds that make raw cacao so beneficial. Most dark chocolate contains added fats, sugars, and other ingredients that dilute the concentration of beneficial compounds per serving. To get the same amount of flavanols from dark chocolate that you get from raw cacao nibs would require eating much larger quantities with correspondingly more calories and sugar. Cacao supplements in capsule form bypass the sublingual absorption opportunity. When you swallow capsules, everything goes through your digestive system, where absorption may be less efficient and more delayed. The combination with raw honey provides synergistic benefits that cacao alone doesn't offer. The honey contributes its own nitric oxide supporting compounds and provides quick energy that supports overnight hormone production. The deliberate 60-second chewing process creates enhanced absorption through oral tissues and ensures thorough mechanical breakdown of the cacao nibs, releasing more of the beneficial compounds than simply swallowing them whole or quickly would achieve. Let me address some common concerns and questions about this nightly practice. The theobromine in cacao can affect some people's sleep. However, the abroine's half-life is about 7 to 10 hours, which is much longer than caffeine, and its effects are considerably milder. Most men find that the small amount in 1 tablespoon of cacao nibs doesn't interfere with sleep. If you do experience any sleep disruption, reducing the amount of cacao or consuming it slightly earlier in the evening usually resolves the issue. The sugar content in the honey is modest, approximately 5 grams from 1 teaspoon. For most men, this small amount consumed at night is not problematic. However, men with diabetes should monitor their blood sugar and may need to reduce the honey amount or use a sugar-free alternative like stevia mixed with a small amount of coconut oil to form the binding agent. Raw cacao does contain small amounts of caffeine, typically about 10 to 15 milligrams per tablespoon of cacao nibs. This is much less than coffee or even green tea. For most people, this amount consumed at night doesn't interfere with sleep, but individuals who are extremely caffeine sensitive should be aware. The oxalate content in cacao is relatively high. Men prone to kidney stones, particularly calcium oxalate stones, should consume cacao in moderation and ensure adequate hydration. However, the amount in this nightly preparation is generally not problematic for most men. Cacao can interact with certain medications, particularly MMO inhibitors. Men taking any medications should verify that cacao consumption is safe with their healthcare provider or pharmacist. Now let me discuss how to enhance this basic preparation for even more dramatic results. Adding a small amount of beetroot powder to the cacao and honey mixture provides additional nitric oxide support through dietary nitrates, which convert to nitric oxide through a pathway independent of arginine. 4 teaspoons of beetroot powder enhances the vascular benefits. Including a pinch of cinnamon in the mixture provides blood sugar regulation and has been shown in some research to support testosterone levels. Solon cinnamon is preferable to cash cinnamon for regular consumption. A few drops of peppermint extract can be added for flavor and because peppermint has been shown to support digestive health and may enhance the absorption of some nutrients. Some men add a small amount of maca powder to the preparation. Maca is traditionally used for energy and stamina and may support hormonal balance. Half a teaspoon of maca powder mixed into the cacao and honey creates a more comprehensive overnight support formula. For men who want maximum nitric oxide support, adding a small amount of pine nuts or crushed almonds to the mixture provides additional arginine. These nuts also provide healthy fats that support hormone production. Let me explain the quality markers to look for when purchasing cacao nibs and honey for this preparation. Raw cacao nibs should be labeled as raw or unroasted. They should be a dark brown color, not black, and should have a somewhat rough, irregular appearance. They should smell intensely chocolatey without any burnt or rancid odors. Organic certification is important for cacao because conventional cacao may be grown with pesticides and treated with chemicals. Cacao trees can accumulate heavy metals from soil, so sourcing from reputable companies that test their products is crucial. The origin of the cacao can matter. Cacao from Peru, Ecuador, and certain regions of Africa is often prized for quality. However, processing methods matter more than origin. Look for fair trade certifications as well, which often correlate with better growing and processing practices. For honey, raw and unfiltered are essential. The honey should be opaque or cloudy rather than perfectly clear. It may crystallize, which is a sign of minimal processing. The honey should be thick and should come from a reputable source that doesn't heat or overly filter their product. Local honey can provide additional benefits related to local plant compounds, though any high-quality raw honey will work for the vascular and hormonal benefits we're discussing. Let me share the broader health implications of restoring robust morning responses through this nightly practice. Morning firmness isn't just about one aspect of male function. It's a window into your overall cardiovascular health. The blood vessels that supply the male organ are among the smallest in your body. When they're functioning optimally, it indicates that larger blood vessels throughout your body are also likely healthy. Research has shown that the absence of morning responses can be an early warning sign of cardiovascular disease, often preceding other symptoms by several years. By restoring these responses through improved vascular health, you're not just addressing one specific concern. You're likely improving your overall cardiovascular status. The hormonal optimization that occurs with consistent use of this protocol extends beyond just testosterone. Better sleep quality supports growth hormone production. Improved metabolic health affects insulin and cortisol. The comprehensive hormonal balance that develops creates benefits throughout your entire body. The psychological benefits are substantial as well. The confidence that comes from waking with reliable morning responses eliminates the anxiety that often compounds physical difficulties. This improved mental state supports better overall function and enhances quality of life. Thank you for your time today, and here's to waking up with renewed vitality.